Coolie, ladies and gentlemen. FLCL. Now that was an anime that I hadn't heard of in a long bloody time. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and I am Generallotz, and it is June of 2018. Last month, I went to Comic Palooza and had a great deal of fun. If you want to see some pictures from that comic convention, just check the Generallotz Facebook page. Now, when I got my badge to go in, it had, actually I could go get it now, but I'm too lazy to get up. Basically, it says FLCL on the little strap there. I was like, FLCL? Why that after all these years? I mean, FLCL came out back, I think, like in 2004, and I'll explain what that is in a moment in case you haven't heard of it. I was like, FLCL? Why is this being advertised? I mean, it's a good anime, but I would have thought no one would have cared by this point. But then I would go on to look, and apparently there's a sequel being released for it all these years later. I forget how many years, but FLCL is one of those shows I don't think really needs a sequel. It's one of those things where it's definitely a one and done. I think they're just creating a sequel so they can make a lot of monies. But FLCL is a anime that came out, I'd guess, around 2004 or 5. I saw it on Adult Swim back when they showed anime, and, you know, it's a really, really weird anime. And I'm talking, okay, I don't want to spoil anything, because it's one of those, it's best you go into it not knowing anything about it, because that way you can be really surprised by everything that happens. But basically, you know, you got this kid, then this woman on a moped shows up and hits him in the head with a guitar, and then a robot grows out of his head. It's that kind of show. And it's back when I first saw it, I was definitely not someone who liked shows like that, but I found myself really drawn to it because it was just so insanely awesome. It has a really good art style to it. It looks really good, and then there's like some moments where like it turns into manga pages. You really have to see it. It even has a really good soundtrack, an amazing soundtrack. Really, I haven't listened to it outside of the show. Although there's one song that I wasn't prepared for. I was listening to it while I was at the track, I think it was like yesterday. No, today's Wednesday. Well, as of this recording, it's Wednesday. I was on a Monday when I went to the track. And then this song started up, I don't remember what the name of it was, where literally the lyric was just, I think I can, over and over. You're like, okay, enough. But other than that, really good soundtrack. Just a really, really fun show all around. I don't think that, I doubt the sequel will be any good. But then again, you never know. You never know. Some sequels are good. Case in point, Deadpool 2. I saw that last month as well, ladies and gentlemen, and I quite enjoyed it all around. I'm not as big a fan of sequels today as I once was, because usually sequels take everything that was good about a first installment and then jettison it entirely. Case in point, Iron Man 1 versus Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was terrible compared to Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1 felt like it had a lot of heart, had a lot of soul into it, and it was actually funny. And it also had a really good visual design that Iron Man 2 didn't have. Iron Man 2 had a very boring, very plotting, very safe visual design. And all the other Marvel movies have this. But Iron Man 1 felt really special. It felt different from every superhero movie that had come out before. Deadpool 2, on the other hand, is just as good as Deadpool 1, but actually a little bit better. I actually found myself laughing my ass off at that movie, and I seldom do that. It actually felt like the first legitimate X-Men movie ever put out. I did not like the original X-Men movies that came out in 2000. I saw them when they came to the theaters, didn't like them, mainly because I felt they broke with canon. Now keep in mind, I did not read that many X-Men comics back then, so I was basing it all on what the animated series did, and I thought it was just terrible compared to that. You know, Cyclops was barely in it, Rogue couldn't fly and didn't have super strength, and basically the movie was just Wolverine the movie. So yeah, and then X-Men 2 was worse, then X-Men 3 was worse than that. I really liked First Class. The other X-Men movies weren't that bad, I suppose, but they just weren't that amazing. And of course, X-Men Days of Future Past had to have Wolverine as the main character again. It's one of the reasons why I liked X-Men First Class so much, because it was not just this focus on Wolverine. What's really funny about Deadpool 2, getting back to that, is literally at the beginning of the movie, Deadpool is making fun of the Wolverine, which was actually a good movie, but depressing as all hell. But Deadpool 2, it really felt like an X-Men movie, though. It truly did, because I know it's a Deadpool movie, but it just felt more like what you'd expect from an X-Men movie to be. It had a lot of that humor that those X-Men movies just didn't have. And when the Blackbird was flying to deal with that mutant problem, it was like, it's like X-Men! It's exactly like the animated show! And it really is a lot like the animated show, just with a lot more swearing in it. Even Juggernaut finally looks right. I mean, and Cable, he actually looked like he's supposed to as well. At the end of the day, Deadpool 2 was just as good as Deadpool 1, if not a little bit better. I'd actually go as far to say it's a little bit better, especially the post-credit scene. What's really bad, though, about seeing a movie in the theaters is I don't drink a lot of I don't drink hardly anything when I watch a movie anymore, because I swear you just can't make it that long without having to get up and go to the bathroom. It's so horrible, and you always end up missing something. That happened when I went to see Captain America: The First Avenger. I had to miss like half the goddamn movie. I kept getting up so much, and it's like this one. I held out to the end of the movie, but I almost missed. I missed some of the post credits scene. But thankfully I was able to see it, and it was really good. What's funny is I was walking out of there, one of the little guys that worked there was like, "There's gonna be a post credit." Yeah, I'll be right back, because I couldn't hold it any longer. The post credit scene was really good, though. I think it was mid credit, whatever. The credit scenes were really good. I really thought they went above and beyond with that. Let's see. I also ended up seeing Batman Ninja. This is something that I kind of forgot about for a while, but then remembered that I wanted to see. I only watched it in English, and the English dub is actually really quite good. Like, it's of animated series quality. The Batman voice sounded good, and the whole show was really quite entertaining. There were some complaints, I think, about, like, oh, it's not serious. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun. I think they did make a mistake in not really characterizing the other ninjas that were there. I think they were cool enough. They should have had a little more expansion, but what was there was good. It was just a fun, over-the-top anime. In fact, except for well, I don't want to spoil. I don't know, was that the trailer? Anyway, towards the end, that was pretty over-the-top, but the whole thing reminded me a lot of Ninja Scroll, just with a little less nudity. Also, the Catwoman costume was crap. The Harley Quinn costume wasn't that bad, but damn was that Catwoman costume utter shit. Like, she even had a fucking bell there. It's like, come on. But ultimately enjoyable. I really like some of the title sequences. Like, Batman got power armor, and then it's like, power armored Batman. It's like, yeah, it's cheesy, but the good kind of cheesy. And then, Shingoku Batman. And then I don't want to spoil it. I almost spoiled it. Very much worth watching. It was just fun from beginning to end. Alright, so, also one other thing. This has to do with a book. There's a book called The Hyperspace Trap by Chris Nuttall. Now, I've talked about him before. Chris Nuttall still knocking it out of the proverbial park with his writing. This book takes place in one of his already established universes that was okay, but nothing too special. This book, on the other hand, I thought was really good because I'm a 40K fan. In this book, he introduces... now, in this universe that he created, it's called the Angel in the Whirlwind series. I think it's like 2 other books in it. They have hyperspace that works a lot like Babylon 5's hyperspace. You kind of like flow through it and everything. He introduces warp entities. I don't know if they're chaos gods, but warp entities. It was awesome. I absolutely got into that book. I read it in like 2 days. I liked it so much. And Chris Nuttall really can create characters that are really compelling. Sometimes he can create some real annoying characters, but the ones in this particular book are really quite good. Characters you wouldn't necessarily think would actually be any good. One of the characters in that book was sort of a space Paris Hilton kind of character that you would think would be really annoying, but she actually gets pretty good towards the end of the book. But the whole thing is warp entities. That's awesome. I like to see more science fiction books do something with these other universal entities, which is always such a cool concept. And 40K does a pretty good job with it, but I'd like to see something other than 40K do it. Let's see, what else we got? Anything else cool that I might recommend? Krypton! Watched the first 3 episodes of that series, and it's pretty bloody good as well. The special effects, of course, look great. The story, it follows Superman's grandfather, and his various adventures. The guy playing Superman's grandfather does a great job. He's pretty funny. He looks like what you would expect a Superman grandfather to look like. And overall, it's a fun show. It gets dark here and there, but it's fun. I actually like watching each and every episode because it actually leaves you feeling good when you finish watching it. I don't know how canonical it is. I'm pretty sure they had to change a lot of stuff, but I don't really care. I never really focused on Superman, as I'm more of a Batman fan anyway. Let's see. Oh, and He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, ladies and gentlemen. That is a show that is constantly parodied, mocked, and stuff like that, but it's actually better than you might think. It is definitely a weird show, where you want to go in completely blind, because you never know what's going to happen next. I actually sat through the entire first episode, because I never actually sat down to watch the show, and I was really surprised by just how enjoyable the first episode was. But let me put it this way. The theme song kind of sets the tone. Because, Prince Adam's like, fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, by the power... when he says that, he doesn't explain how it works. There's no background on that. It just is. It's a show where it just is. Like, they're riding in this space truck, right? And it starts talking to them. And it starts snarking. I was like, what? It can talk? And it's like, okay. And then, Cringer, the green cat. I didn't know he could talk. And when he starts talking, I'm like, what? When did this happen? And you'd find yourself doing that the entire time. But I find that really fun, because you never know what's going to happen next. And, it's not as badly written as you might think. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I'm glad I finally watched it. Alright, so, now that we got through all of that, what about... I just realized my tablet's on. Epic tablet turning off action. Anyway, where was I? Videos for this month. I gotta remember which month it is, because I actually do a lot of videos in advance. It's like, which month is this? Oh, it's June! It's June. And June, the videos are gonna be a lot of Quakes. A lot of Quakes coming out. Gonna be that already put out Quake 2 Ground Zero. Really, really fucking tough game, but really fucking tough. I was gonna say it's a lot of fun, but I find myself... I'm glad it's good, but it's so aggravating. Quake 2 The Reckoning's coming out tomorrow, actually, because it's going up on a Thursday. Quake 2 The Reckoning, I actually liked it a lot more than Quake 2 Ground Zero, just because it's not so goddamn aggravating. Then, finally, yeah, there we go. There's going to be Quake, or Alien Quake. I'm finally going to do a review of that. I already did a live stream of that. Absolutely amazing game. And the best part is, it's free, because it's a mod. And then there's going to be one final review of the month, and that is Aliens Earth War. Now, I could review Female War, and I was going to do that, but then I finally read Earth War. I never actually read the original Earth War. And I really want to talk about it, because it is drastically different from Aliens Female War. And it's not as good as Female War either. It's one of those things where it just is sort of thing. A lot of the stuff that would be explained in Female War isn't in Earth War, and there's a lot of a shitload of character problems in Earth War compared to Female War. Like, Newt meets up with Ripley. It's like, why? And Newt is like, why did you leave me? It's like, well, she had a reason, and the comic does give a reason. It's like, but Ripley never tells her. Then there's a lot of really stupid moments where, like, Hicks and Newt are like, we don't owe humanity anything, which is why you fought for humanity in the first 2 fucking comics. And then the ending's really crap compared to Female War as well. It's not a very good comic, and I can see why they changed it drastically. And, like, in the Female War, Ripley, comes back and works with Hicks and Newt, and they're all about saving humanity in that. They're all about, we gotta fight the xenomorphs, not just, we don't owe them anything, man. And they, create this team made up of people who really hate xenomorphs and had loved ones taken away. In the comic, Earth War, you get none of that. It's just, there was basically another Marine team sent with Ripley to get some more specimens of the aliens. that was it. And then most of them died, and then Ripley went into hiding for a bunch of years. And then just now does she go out with the rest of that team and fight. Not very good. Not very good at all. And I'm going to kind of rip it apart. But it's really quite funny just how drastically different Earth War is. And it has it's kind of funny. Okay, it's more or less the same story as Female War, but all the details are changed. It's kind of funny. Just the bones of the ideas remain in Female War, but all the crap... Okay, let's put it this way. The bad shit of Earth War is removed, and good shit is put in their place. That's the best way to put it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else? Just haven't had time for live streams. I only gotta say that because live streams take so long and doing all these videos. You guys are really gonna like July as well. Can we bring back some things in July? Most notably the Outdoor Adventure. That's coming back. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming for the rest of the year. And yes, at some point I am going to review Rage finally. I have not actually done a replay of that in a very long time. When it came out, I didn't like it. We'll see if I like it now. It's hard to say one way or another. And how long have I been going? 16 minutes? Okay, it's not too long. There's one game series I'm probably not going to be able to get to this year, just because of time and just a lot of other stuff has been scheduled, is the Army Men franchise. I need to do that. I know I also need to do the Star Wars games, just haven't gotten to it. But the Army Men franchise. I did not play the RTS games, but I did play the third-person shooter, Sarge's Heroes 2, and a few others, and I kind of want to talk about those, because those weren't bad games. They definitely have been forgotten in recent years. Mainly because 3DO just collapsed entirely. So there's that. That's one of the big reasons. And it was never a very popular franchise to begin with, but I really liked them back in the day, just because it was such a novel concept. You're playing as a sapient green army man fighting the evil Tan Empire. And what's really, really funny is the main villain of the Army Men franchise was named General Plastro. So yeah, I'm not really sure how he has an army, seeing as how communism doesn't work very well, but whatever. But General Plastro, you get it? Plastro? But then they became German, though, later in the series. I'm not even joking, like General von Tannberg. Yes, that was a character. It was always a very tongue-in-cheek kind of series, and it was never really meant to be that... It never meant to be taken that seriously. Although later in the franchise, I never played these games, but I was aware of them at the time. It got really dark. The games from 2004, where it became less about this sort of weird fictional retelling of World War II to this sort of war on terror kind of thing. And by that point, the series is pretty much all but dead because 3DO had long since gone out of business. So yeah, I want to try to find a copy of Sarge's War. That's where it's basically sort of like a green version of, well, a green Army Man version of Rambo in some instances. Rambo First Blood Part 1. So yeah, in any event, I am Generallotz. More good crap coming. And so, I'm going to wish you good Army Men 1, Sergeant's Heroes, and good Army Man 2, Sergeant's Heroes 2, or whatever makes you happy.